Bonjour, it's Théo. With the Olympics that are taking place in Paris, all the eyes of the world are turned to Paris and France, my country. And when I talk to other people from other countries about France, when we talk about the president Emmanuel Macron, they usually have a good opinion about him because in their country, Macron has a good image, a good reputation. And it's not the same in France. In France, it's like everyone hates Macron, nobody likes him. It's also because he's really criticized on TV and by all the other political parties. But in this video, I wanted to talk about that, why all the French peoples dislike Macron. Why Macron has a bad reputation in France. And to understand that, we need to talk about the political context in France. Since 1958, we are in the 5th République, the 5th République, with the same constitution that just changed a little bit since 1958. And we had multiple presidents since that time. Usually, the elections were between two different parties, the left and the right, the socialism versus the liberal economic, the more progressive versus the more conservative. And for decades and decades, it was the same fight at the end of the elections between the left and the right. We had some exception in 2002 when the far right get into the second turn but lost at the end. But for all my childhood, it was always about left versus right. In 2012, when François Hollande was elected, the left has won because people were tired of the right that were too bling bling, too fancy, too flashy, showing off the yacht and the money. But Hollande, the leftist, disappointed a lot of people. So in 2017, when Macron got elected, he was like a new hope. He was not really at the left or at the right, he was trying to change this system, and everyone was believing that it could be like a fresh start, a new fresh start. At first, Macron had a really good reputation. He was young, good looking, the history with his wife was a beautiful history for the cameras also, good storytelling, you know. And the other countries around us were liking Macron a lot because he was this youth, this new type of people that were not like always in the politics for 40 years and just trying to have a career. He was this new man, this new guy who could change the world. But he comes from the bank, the finance. And the people from the finance are usually not the best to change the status quo. And the beautiful new world promised by Macron was just an illusion. Since 2017, at his first election, Macron had a lot of scandals. One of them, the Affaire Benalla, the Benalla scandal, was about a security guard of Macron that was seen disguised as a policeman, even if he's not from the police, fighting like beating protesters in the streets. We still don't know why he was there, why he was disguised, nobody knows, but it was the first scandal of the Macron presidency. After that, he did a lot of laws to change the social rights. For example, he took down a law called the ESF. It was a tax for the high fortune, the biggest fortune. So the rich people were paying less money, less taxes, while at the same time he was telling to the poor people that we were not in the abundance anymore and we have to make a lot of effort. He was always having double standards. Then we had a lot of protests, like the Gilets jaunes, the yellow jackets that were protesting for more than a year in the streets, in the roundabouts, everywhere in France. I think it started with the increasing of the price of the oil because of a tax, and then it was more a year of protest against Macron and his ideas. During the COVID-19, it was really difficult also for many people. The public hospital lost a lot of money, and Macron was not the best to take care of the public services. And after that, after this big moment of difficulties for France, he took down more social rights with the réforme des retraites, the retirement law. He was putting the age of the retirement from 62 to 64, making life more difficult to the old people. So Macron started as the good-looking young man who wanted to change the system, but right now nobody is trusting him that much because he was always having double standards, making the public services weaker and taking down some social rights, while he was giving less taxes to the rich people, or making a lot of expenses for nothing. But beside the political stuff, it's also a vibe that Macron share with the people that is making him dislikable. I think that for many people, when you started as the hero, as the good-looking young man, and you were like the new hope, the people are even more disappointed when you do a bad thing. During the yellow jacket, the Gilets jaunes, but also during the quarantines, Macron was seen as someone not relatable. He was alone in his castle in the Élysée, the presidential house. not really connected with the people. He's really good as making a speech, as talking, doing the storytelling, but today it's just seen as a political manipulation. Also, the people around Macron were criticized a lot, from the ministers to the députés. The députés are the people that are elected in the parliament. The people from the Macron's party were always seen as people that were disconnected with the reality. They wanted to do a career or to try new things with the politics, and after that they will go to the private companies. Like the politic was just like an internship for 5 years just to try something new. They were not seen as people with values and ideas to share in the politic and in the parliament. The people around Macron are just following him without giving new proposition or new ideas. Also because Macron is not really sharing new ideas or with a political program. When he got re-elected in 2022, he didn't have like new things to give to the people, but just a vague idea of changing the world and making the world better, gathering the people around new idea, but it was just vague, you know, not really clear. While the left or the far right have really strong ideas, Macron is trying to be the neutral or nuanced guy, but it's not always the case. So that's a little bit why many people don't like Macron right now. Today we have 3 different big blocks. We have the Macron party that is more in the right or the center right, the left that is also a big bloc, and the far right that is really, really powerful and more powerful than before. Both the left and the far right are giving a new hope of changing the system, while Macron is the symbol of a system that is not working anymore. So that's the idea about Macron and how we feel about Macron in our country. Tell me in the comments what do you feel about Macron. Is your country talking good about Macron? Like, are you watching the news about France and people are saying good things about Emmanuel Macron? I would love to know if the other countries are criticizing him or not. And also share in the comments if your president or your chief of government is criticized a lot or not in your country. I would love to know if it's something that is always in every country in the world, like we are always criticizing, or if it's just in France. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. I love to make this video about the political context in France. Don't hesitate to tell me if you want me to make another video about that. And of course, if you want to explore Paris and discover the French way of life, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. I post every single day, so see you tomorrow.